Hi, I'm Anaiis, Salles, Patreon Sage on YouTube, and I want to thank you for stopping by my channel. I had a very powerful experience very early this morning, about 4:30 in the morning, and I've really been guided to share that experience with you because I think it was an experience that the entire collective might have been going through. It wasn't personal to me. But if you were going through it and you were still attached to your pain body and the issues of your pain body, it could have felt very, very personal. So what was the experience? The experience was, I'll use the word triggered by a dream in which someone that I know, an acquaintance, someone I would say I know reasonably well, a younger male person, was in a situation in which he was himself emotionally triggered to become a shooter, to become a mass shooter. And so I was inside this unfolding drama, watching everything. I was there as an observer. I was watching the transition in this young man. And I watched him making his choices to go and do whatever it is he ultimately chose to do. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is not to bring up issues of fear, and I use the word trigger because when I woke up to a feeling of having a frequency environment been artificially created, and that it was this artificial frequency environment that had both orchestrated, and I will use the word orchestrated, or designed the dreamscape. And so when I woke up, I could distinctly feel, because I'm very sensitive to energy, and in this video I will link to some of my interviews from several years back so you have a sense of what I've been doing in the world and the work that I do. But I'm extremely, extremely, extremely tuned into frequency. And so I lay in bed, I woke up, and I got very, very still and quiet and just allowed my energy to feel my body all over, to feel the sensations, which were creepy and creeping. And I felt that the intention was to, in a way, saturate my physical and emotional body with this frequency that I do feel we may be allowed to become more aware of when we're literally being dialed up by the matrix. And then we're being preset up for a small, medium, or large mass drama in which, depending on where we are in our frequency bandwidth, we might find ourselves in that situation in what I call our external reality or our hologram. So as the frequency was attempting to creep through me, before I simply burned it off with love and a certain frequency of light and sound, I chose to feel it and to name the emotions that were being triggered by this absolutely intentional frequency. And I'll name some of those emotions because I took the time to feel each one. Despair, loneliness, a sense of being a failure, a sense of this will never end, a sense of disorientation, very much no sense of a core self. And it was a very, very challenging to stay present in my own heart energy and love energy and ascending light energy so that I could observe this process. And as I observed it, I allowed all of the DNA that's been activated in me, and I will tell you that this entire experience last night was another major DNA activations. For those of you who are on the ascension path, I would not be surprised if you found yourself literally today and ongoing now with the new skill set. Because I felt the new skill set was introduced early this morning, and I was part of the energy wave that introduced it to the collective, which is how you can pick up and feel the frequencies when you are being manipulated by the system of separation in which people who are still attached and buried inside of and aligned with the emotions of their pain bodies. This is still very much their real three-dimensional reality experience. This is how they feel going through the day. This is how they feel going to work or not going to work, or going to a job that doesn't pay them enough to meet their living expenses. So this frequency of energy was being deliberately dialed up overnight. Now, in the past, as a spiritual warrior and a spiritual adept, I have had many, many, many years of working in what used to be the astral plane. And that was a false bandwidth of energy, an energy frequency net, that those of us who are on the ascension path and who are here and know why we're here and understand what is happening here with human evolution and the evolution of our planetary being Gaia, we fought and we fought and we fought and we fought and we fought, and every night I was either in battle or I was teaching a night class to help people wake up. And I've been doing this for, 30 years? Now, in 2017, that shifted because the larger energetic drama that is going on in the 3D construct underwent a shift. And then we had been moving and timelines had been shifting and the Mandela effect had been happening. People didn't necessarily realize at a conscious level that their own DNA and their own subconscious and unconscious minds were sorting them and putting them on specific timelines that aligned with their either healed or unhealed DNA, their healed or unhealed emotional dynamics, or their healed or unhealed mental dynamics, which has to do with your social conditioning and your cultural self. So I wanted to share this with you because I have the skills and I knew what to do. And so in that interlude, after feeling everything and understanding that this was not a personal attack on me, but I had been, because I'm always awake, I'm awake 24/7, I'm actually never really fully asleep. My consciousness doesn't sleep anymore. It hasn't for years. Very, very seldom. A couple times a year I'll get a break where I'm totally allowed to just truly and deeply rest, but it doesn't happen very often because my commitment is to the awakening of this planet and everyone on it who chooses the ascension path. So I wanted to share this with you because there'll be many of you today who are feeling like, what just happened? Coming through the full moon energy portal and new waves of energy that moved in parallel with all the attention, the astrological attention placed on the Pisces full moon. Parallel energies came in from source to align people, to put them more on glide path, to come into union, to put them more on glide path, to come into full awakening and beginning and actually engaging their mission work, to come on glide path with a sense of completion, of having done a major, huge healing and clearing and shifting transformation and transmutation project with your soul group that benefited the entire collective as well as each of us individually. So WTF, like what happened last night? So many people who were not able to consciously experience this frequency being dialed up. It was like, I was talking to a friend in England this morning and I said it was, like imagine that you are living in a New York apartment, and everybody knows in New York apartments, even the fancy one, the roaches are a constant thing that you have to deal with and that you live with if you can't deal with them. And so people have their apartments regularly fumigated to keep from having to see the roaches that are actually there. And a lot of the roaches go off and die, but they're still reproducing and they're still a pest, and it just goes on cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. And because now I'm working with the dragon energy, I think it helped me to really be able to observe these dialed up frequencies last night. And the way that I perceived it first, as if an artificial fog had been generated, not unlike a fog of fumigation that is used to eliminate roaches in areas where roaches are a problem. And so the reason I'm expressing this to you is because I think those of us who are on the ascension path, who are awakening, who know that we're in the ascension journey is very much functional, and we're ascending in waves, and we've been sorted by DNA, and the timelines for our ascension is a function of our DNA and how much we've activated and where we are in our unification of subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind based on our neurobiology, which has been manipulated for a long time. And part of the ascension journey and part of coming out of your pain body is recognizing this manipulation and doing the inner work, the very dynamic inner work of recognizing every time you're triggered and taking that up and unpacking that and sorting out the quanta, the pure source light energy that you are, that is being snatched up and devoured and consumed by an entropic black hole energy system that is going to take this entire planet into complete fall. Now, this isn't going to happen for another 50 given odd years, but it's going to be really rough. And so for those of you who are young, who are millennials, who are parents with young children, perhaps you're in the age range from maybe 28 to 40, this message is really aimed at you. So that as a parent, as a guiding energy in your children's lives, and for those of you who may be pregnant right now or trying to get pregnant, you understand the energies that are pushing back against your quanta, against your source light. And really, the intent is to push you off of your ascension timeline. So I wanted to share this with you because this is where the level of mastery that we will all ascend with, if we're choosing that, is beginning to come into play. And this is not for beginners. This is so not for beginners. And so I'm speaking to you now because I can feel in my heart that many people woke up this morning feeling disoriented and like they'd been pushed overnight into a reality, a sense of emotional distress, a sense of being triggered into reactive, what I call reactive flares that will seep up because your DNA that has yet to be healed has been pushed by really what I call Neg-Intent frequencies. All right, so now I want to make sure you understand that this kind of experience, these kinds of literally being, they know when populations, and I talk about I'm talking about the architects, the controllers, who are so needing to hang on to this system to suck out every possible bit of quanta they can to keep this system going for however long. It's inevitably going to crash and fail because it's unsustainable. And we're seeing that. I mean, you can't be in denial today. You know, whatever your particular elected representative will keep hammering home to you as if it were truth, that climate change is a hoax, that there's no science behind it. Well, we're all just really looking around and getting it that we don't require permission to understand this information and to really wake up to our own perceptions and to trust them. We don't need an elected representative or a president to tell us that we are stupid or that we're very, very bad or that we don't understand or that whatever, all of that blah, 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 neg-intent language speak is throwing at you. So those who are the architects of this three-dimensional structure, or the matrix, as many of us have known, woke up to all of that a long time ago, and some of us even before the movie, we are aware that this is going on and we are becoming more and more conscious of it, and we are feeling more and more called to participate in solutions, or at least bringing the best of who we are to the challenges that we ourselves have co-created unconsciously. So this is a really beautiful time for you to wake up to the frequencies that are now going to be pushed through 5G. So let me just say to you, if you're a young mom or you're a young dad, your family is still on the path of upward mobility for a little while longer, they're going to let people continue to have that illusion for a little while longer because it fuels consumption on all levels. So I'm sharing this with you now because there's going to be new and exciting technology that you're going to be enticed and manipulated to buy and use and include in your home environment. So we already have the LED lights, which contain mercury, and you can't just dispose of those lights when they're dead because they're toxic to the environment. Yeah? It's time to wake up and connect all the dots. So we have LED lights. We are surrounded by light waves and occasionally sound waves that are interrupting our natural, organic, biological, and neurological systems. So when you want to talk about holistic health, and when you want to talk about wellness, and when you want to bring your attention to yourself in that way as part of your self-care and self-love, please understand this is going to need to include your smartphone, your Alexa, your smart TV, your smart meter in your home, yeah, your smart refrigerator, and all the ways in which you, consumer, are going to be pushed, manipulated, and triggered by fear or greed or ego. That you must have these things in order to be okay. In order to feel okay about who you are. So last night was just another little test patch that they were doing. This technology's been around for ages. They've been testing it for ages. Major corporations are involved in this kind of testing, and all I need to say to you is you really do need to wake up that you're living in an open air concentration camp. You're being experimented in all the time without your consent, your conscious consent, and that is absolutely a prime directive violation of spiritual law. But it's up to you to declare that you do not consent. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, because I know about the 5G rollout. In 2018, I organized the first 5G summit, call to action summit, that's now become a thing. And the last time I looked, I got invited to something that I had created. I got invited to a new iteration of it, which had been lovely pushed along by holistic care providers, which I'm very happy about. But I got invited to something that I created, which was kind of funny. But it's no matter. What is important is for you to wake up so that you understand the connection between the open air technological experiment that is changing your genetics. Yeah? Why are women having to have medicalized birth? Why are women unable to conceive? Why is this such a difficult thing anymore? Why do you have to spend thousands of dollars to have a baby? First of all, to get pregnant, and then to actually deliver it and take it home? Why are there so many premature births? Why is the ultrasound now standard procedure for every pregnant woman? Because you've been sold a bill of technological goods. That this is good for you. So you know, you can see what the baby looks like, while you're completely oblivious to the actual fact that the sound waves moving through your fetus are harming it and activating DNA, let's call them distortions, that you don't want to have your children coming into this world with. And I'm not talking about eugenics here. I'm talking about things like autism that are then, once those genetics have been distorted by the ultrasound that you have to have, then come the vaccines. You see? The vaccines that you now have to have. When I was a young mother and raising a child, the kids only needed 5 vaccines. Now here comes the interference with the damn dog barking. It happens to me every time. Just notice this. This is what I'm talking about. This is a frequency event right here. A distraction, an interruption. Okay? Now usually the minute I call that stuff out, it stops. But I wanted you to notice that. Because I was talking about something very important. I was talking about you and your baby. And how the slippery slope of technology has now completely inserted yourself into you being a woman. Look at it. Draw a map. Draw a map of what's going on for you now as a woman with your own reproductive system, biological process, pregnancy and birth. Just draw a map. Legislation, the medicalization, the cesareans, the difficult. Just please sit down and get conscious and draw a map for yourself. and wake up. Wake up. Please wake up. There will be a timeline on which the opportunity to wake up and consciously choose how you want to live out the rest of your days in this system, this matrix, this system of separation will be over, and you'll no longer have the option to choose consciously. So you know me here on YouTube as a card reader. I'm going to attach the link to my other interviews that I've done on YouTube over the years, so you have a sense that this is not me coming out suddenly on the bandwagon. I've been doing this work for 30 years. 30 years. And I'm specifically working now with frequency antidotes, literal antidotes to the kind of information that came through last night in the middle of the night, that someone who is borderline awake might get through that okay. It might take them a few days, a few hours, it might take a week, it might take longer. This could bring on an illness, a physical illness, but there will be some out there who will not be able to pull themselves out of this kind of a really sharp and sudden frequency dive. It will cost them a lot of quanta to come out. And I will tell you honestly, folks, we don't have the quanta to spare anymore. It's as precious as water and food. It's certainly more precious than money. And most of us in the 3D system, while we were in it, were exchanging our quanta for money. So it's time for you to wake up. And I wanted to share that with you because you may have woken up this morning feeling incredibly out of sorts and upset and distressed and triggered and angry, and you can't feel your heart because that energy last night was designed to separate out the heart frequency, to make it really difficult to feel it, to feel your heart energy for yourself, to feel your heart connection to source and this planet in its organic evolutionary form. So, okay, I think that's all I want to say. This is going on a little long, but I wanted to include that information. And if you're interested in being in an environment where I share more of this kind of information with you, as I said, I have been doing it for a long time around the world. I have tons of experience, and I'm up to date, okay? Because I got the memo about what was happening last night. So while I may be an awakened elder, I am for sure not out of the loop. And while the system of separation is trying to corral me so people can't hear my voice, so people can't recognize my experience, so people are corralled away from having the choice to come and work with me live or even online. Please understand, this is deliberate. This is deliberate. It is deliberate. And I'm not going to go into the story of how YouTube shut down my channel because I was absolutely challenging the system of separation in ways they knew would work. So I'm going to leave you with that. I love you all. I love you. And even though I'm looking into the eye of a video camera that reminds me very much of the few last scenes in The Last Jedi, where Quinn is piloting that his machine to go straight into the eye lens of the Empire. I am looking at you straight through the digital eye lens of the Empire, and I'm inviting you to wake up. And I'm inviting you to let you know that I'm absolutely available to share my knowledge, my expertise, and my experience. If you don't have an issue working with a wise elder. So love, love, love. Feel your connection. When in doubt, if you find yourself in a situation where you're being completely triggered in your external hologram, Take a deep breath. Bring your breath right here to your heart center. Right here to the place in you, if you don't know about your chakra or your chakra systems or your subtle energy bodies, right here to the place that feels so good and healthy and safe. Just when you exchange a simple hug with a live human being, or when you have a really sweet interaction with an animal who may be in your life, a dog, a cat, or whatever. Breathe into this space and feel that who you are awakening to, becoming, to being, to sharing, to expanding, to evolving, to growing, lives right here. Right here. I hope you can see this in the camera view. Right here. Yeah, and so now I'm also going to share with you the frequency antidote that came right through for me after I finished this process, sorting through the range of digital and frequency, 5G or whatever it was, that came into my personal space without my consent, because it seeps in everywhere. If you have internet at home, if you have, it just seeps in now. So I came through that experience having the frequency antidote for that particular bandwidth of distortion. Contact me. My information is in this video, and I'd be happy to have a longer discussion with you about that, or simply visit my website at sourced.life/solutions. Take a look around and see what's available there for you as you're waking up. A lot of people move through the Pisces moon parallel energy portal influx of new energies, gifted with energy that would help them wake up. That's why this nasty stuff came through last night. It's to shut you back down. It's to close you all off from that, which was opened up for you between the 12th and the 16th. So that's it. I'm going to do a card reading now, but I'm going to stop this video and go into the card reading as a separate activity. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Here we have the dog again. Because I'm sharing with you how to contact me. The system doesn't want you to see me. The system doesn't want you to hear me. The system doesn't want you to know that I'm here. I'm living in 5D, but I absolutely am available to uplift people who are transitioning out of their pain bodies, out of the system of separation and entropy, and are ready to move on to their ascension path, while there's still an opportunity to do that. Okay, thanks. Enjoy your day, and don't let the trigger get you. This is the reason for me making this video. Take a breath. Recognize that for what it is, and don't give your consent for it to disturb or distort any part of you, physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Love, peace and blessings, love and light.